Today I'm going to do a review on two of my vintage Vostok Komandirskie watches. I really like these Komandirskie watches. They offer a really good value for the money. These things can be bought new, shipped to your door from Russia for around 50 bucks, sometimes less. And you can buy them all day on eBay, vintage pieces. And those you can get for as cheap as $15, $20. So they're not the highest quality watch in the world, but for that type of money, it's just a really good deal. This piece here, these watches are going to be a 420 case. I'll go over the specs here. So this is a 420 case size. There's a whole bunch of different types of case styles that you can look up on these things, but these are the 420. And with that, you get a 39 millimeter case size, which is a great size, nice mid-size watch. The lug width on these is 18, so you have pretty good options for straps when you want to replace them, like I did with these two. And then your lug to lug is 46 millimeter. Your case thickness is 12 millimeters, so they wear fairly flat too, which is a bonus. These offer a screw-down crown as well as a screw-down caseback. They have the innovative Vostok caseback design that I've showcased on another video on my channel. Feel free to look at that if you want to see it in more detail. These particular watches have the 24, 14, 17 jewel movement, and that movement is hand wind only. Typically, your Komandirskies are going to be hand wind watches. They're not going to have the autos. There are a few that I saw on that came out recently that have autos, but pretty much all your Komandirskies are going to be manual wound watches. These have a domed acrylic crystal, just like pretty much all Vostok watches. The bezel is going to be bidirectional, just like all your Vostok watches. That is a friction bezel, so you can rotate it both directions, and it's held in place by a retainer spring that causes friction. I actually got these two watches from my grandpa. He gave them to me in the early 90s after he got back from Russia. He went there on a vacation. So I kind of cherish these. These have a lot of sentimental value to me, but they're just cool watches. So let's go on to the positives of these things. I've mentioned it before here in this review, but these things just have a awesome, uniqueness about them. They're very collectible. There's a huge variety of different case designs, dial designs, colors. I mean, you name it, there's just all different type of stuff. You can get different hands. They're just real collectible. So, I mean, that's one of the best things about these things is they're unique. They're conversation pieces. If you have $100, you could on eBay, you could probably get 5 or 6 of these Komandirskies if you shop right. That's just cool. I just love that they're so collectible. You don't find too many watches that allow you to collect like this with the huge variety of dials. There's collector pieces, there's commemorative editions. It's just really cool. Now that is dangerous because you can start spending some serious money on these things when you start buying, 10 of them. But that's just a really awesome thing with these Komandirskies. I really like the dial on this with that green sunburst. It's beautiful. I mean, I just love that. It's so pretty. And then I like that, the logos on here with the paratrooper, which that's what this model is called, is the paratrooper model. I like that red star. I mean, that just looks good. The hands look good. I like that it has a date complication, which is a bonus in a watch of this price range. A lot of the cheaper watches, manual wind watches, they may not have a date complication. So I always like that. I like the Cyrillic text here. That's really cool. The Russian Cyrillic writing. That's just really cool. They do offer some water resistant. I think these claim to be 50 or 100 meter. The Amphibias are 200 meter, but these I would say would be safe for maybe some light swimming. Of course, rain, no problem, but I wouldn't go snorkeling with these Komandirskies. You probably could, but I probably wouldn't recommend you do that. The negatives are going to be the loud ticking, and the reason, and that's with the seconds going, it's really loud, and the reason it is like that, I think, is because with the Amphibia models, which is the higher end dive watch Vostok offers, those have a thicker crystal. And also the cases. The cases are full stainless steel on the Amphibias, and everything's just heavier duty, so it just mutes the sound of the movement. Whereas these are going to be a slightly thinner crystal, and then the cases are actually chrome-plated brass. So this is not stainless steel, even though it kind of looks like stainless steel because these are in good shape. But these are actually chrome-plated brass. So if you get like some of the vintage pieces, they have a lot of scuff marks on them and dings and scratches, and you'll start to see, or if they're just really old and have a lot of wear on them, you'll start seeing the brass come through. Which some people don't like that. I think it kind of looks cool having that patina on there. But that's probably why. That's why I think these things are louder. It's just it's just not as heavy duty as the Amphibias. There's no hacking on these, although you can do kind of like the trick that I showed in another video where you can kind of stop the second hand. But there's no real hacking on these things. So that, keep that in mind. There's also no quick date change. There's also a little trick for that for Vostoks, which again, I have the video on that, but they don't have it, where you can flip through the date real quick. The timekeeping is kind of all over the place with these. They're not consistent. Like this one, for instance, here, this one gains about 40 seconds a day. So that's not very good. So, you could get something like that from if you order one of these. Now this one, on the other hand, this one is minus 6 seconds a day, which is really accurate for a watch in this price range. I mean, that is incredible in my opinion. I mean, this is a manual wound watch. They cost under $50, and I'm averaging only, I'm off only 6 seconds in a day. I mean, that's impressive. Another negative here we need to talk about is the Loom. The Loom on pretty much all Vostoks is just weak. It lasts, a couple hours at most. So, that's just one of the things I wish Vostok would improve on their new production stuff is they got to get better Loom. It looks good when you charge it up, but that thing fades quick. The 18 millimeter lug width, I kind of actually think that's a negative because I prefer a 20 or 22 millimeter strap. To me, it just fits my wrist better. Maybe to you, the 18 millimeter would be just fine, but I would prefer larger. There are different case sizes that you can get from Vostok that offer the 20 and 22 millimeters, so you can get them, but on this particular watch, that 18 millimeter, I'm not a huge fan of. It just looks a little small on my wrist. And then, of course, the crystals. Well, I've talked about this before. It's acrylic, so it's easy to scratch, and you will scratch them. It don't take much. I mean, you can brush up against plywood or something just working in your garage, and it can scratch the acrylic. So, just keep that in mind. They do scratch, but you can polish them. You just use a metal polish or some type, they make a poly watch, which I've used before, which is marketed toward, acrylic crystals in watches, and it works really great. So you can polish out those scratches if they're not too deep. If they're deep, you'd have to really work at it. But that is a negative, so the crystal will scratch, so keep that in mind. But the bottom line with these, they're just really cool. I mean, I know I mentioned that a lot with these Vostoks, but the best thing about these things is they're just so neat. I mean, you don't see too many of them. They are fairly common, but, people just don't really know much about them. So they see it, and you tell them, well, it's actually it's a Russian watch, and they're like, oh, okay, and it's just a conversational piece. They're very collectible, like I said, and just the main thing is the value. I mean, it's really awesome watch for the money. I mean, if you haven't ever bought one, you should probably start with the Komandirskie line, and then after that, you're going to catch the bug, and you'll move on to the Amphibia models and some of the other offerings that they have. But if you haven't checked them out, definitely check out these things. They offer a lot of value for the money. Thanks for watching.